Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to Power Rangers SH Figuarts Week. This time, we're going to be taking a look at another Ranger, because one of the Rangers in front of you will be reviewed today. And today's Ranger is none other than the Red Ranger, and the Armored Red Ranger. Before we take a look at the Red Power Ranger, we're going to be looking at the packaging first. Now, this is actually the packaging for the SH Figuarts Tyranno Ranger, which is nearly identical to the American release as the Red Ranger. I did not purchase the American release as I was able to get Tyranno Ranger from Japan early, and it said about $10. So, I ended up going for him overall. It kind of wrecks the packaging scheme since every other Figuart I've gotten from the line has been the American release, but it was worth it to me because I got to save money. Packaging is really cool. It is, different than the packaging for the Power Rangers, and I actually kind of like it a little more sometimes. But then again, we've seen less of this. But overall, really cool. It shows how it has the bonus parts for Akiba Ranger and all that. But a really neat packaging design. I quite like it. But there you go. That's what the Japanese packaging looks like for Dragon Ranger. Is very similar. And then the rest of the G Rangers have closed face boxes. But we're here to talk about Power Rangers, and we're going to take a look at the Red Ranger. Alright, so here we have the Red Ranger. Now the first thing I want to mention is my biggest complaint with, it's a line-wide complaint really, with all the male Rangers, except for those that have shield chests, is these shoulder pieces. Now the shoulder pieces are supposed to hide the joint that is right there, so that when you move the arm and you're having them imposed, they're there. The problem is that they don't lock in, so if you have his arm up like this piece isn't like, they're just kind of problematic, mostly because they get loose and they start flopping around. So if you have like his arm forward and then this piece is back here when you want it up here, it's a lot of work. You have to like reposition those every time you repose his arms. They are quite a hassle. Green Ranger does not have this issue. He has those underneath his Dragon Shield, but he's got his Dragon Shield across the chest. That is my only real complaint with the figure. Other than that, the head sculpt is quite fantastic. It looks much like the Red Ranger's helmet. It looks very similar to the, giant helmet I have sitting under my table here that's holding 100 discs of Power Rangers on DVD. It looks really good. The visor's well done, the mouth is well painted, everything looks really good. It looks really sharp, and it's really neat. The figure itself is a standard figure, and we'll see this standard mold for Black and Blue Rangers as well, and the Tiger Ranger if you bought the Japanese version of the Yellow Ranger, but I did not, so we'll get to that later. Anyways, the diamond chest on his chest is well done. Continues on to the back. The belt is nicely painted with the morpher in the middle, which looks much like, well, the morpher that we know from the series. So there is that. That's awesome. And he's got a holster, got the boots, everything's there, which is really nice. And articulation-wise, he has the same articulation as Green Ranger. So if you'd like to see the articulation, go check out my Green Ranger video that was posted prior to this one. But what makes him different and unique and interesting outside of color is, well, his accessories. Now, he comes with quite a lot. He has the most accessories out of any of the SH Figuart Power Rangers. So you get, of course, his power sword, which you can see is super cool. It's really well detailed. They got the paint on the blade, which is always left off. The gold accents around the handle and the hilt, plus the dragon or the Tyrannosaurus coin in the middle there. Really, really nice looking. Now, it does not have the ability to combine with the other weapons to form the Power Blaster, but we'll get to that later. So you have that. You get his Blade Blaster in three different configurations. You get the storage mode, which you can see here is the storage/baton mode. It fits right into his holster, and it looks really good when it's holstered. You also get it in its blade mode and in its blaster mode, which is really cool that it includes all 3 variations of the mode. That's an issue for later on that we'll discuss. You also get a Thunder Slinger, which was used in one episode and only combined with the Blade Blaster. So, extra accessory for G-Ranger fans. But you do get the combined Blade Blaster Thunder Slinger for, to recreate the episode Gung Ho. You also get a ton of hands. You get these really cool posing hands that are kind of like air quote hands, but they're used for his roll call pose. You also get 3 different variations of grip hands for his sword, his Blade Blaster, and the Blade Blaster Thunder Slinger combo. So you got a lot going on here. And you do have a lot of options. Now, the Blade Blaster itself, we'll start with that first, since, well, you got to see it in his hand to really see what the slight issue is. And that is, it looks a little small to me. And it just looks tiny. And I think it's a scaling issue. Like, it matches the scaling of the one in this holster, but the one in this holster is supposed to be smaller, and I used the wrong hand. I'm sorry. All the hands look very similar. You have to kind of do a trial and error to see which one grips best. Anyways, the Blade Blaster looks a little small. I thought it should be a little larger, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And the Blade Blaster's blade mode has another little issue, which is it can't get around the fingers very well. And it also looks a little small. So all the Blade Blasters look small, which is quite an issue for me at least. It kind of sucks, because this is the only time we get to see these accessories. The Blade and Blaster modes of the Blade Blasters never get released again outside of this figure. They don't come with any of the other Rangers. Because of their budget cut for the figures, they only come with the Blade Blaster Thunder Slinger combo that was used in one episode. I wish they would have used that budget to give every Ranger at least, like, the Blade Blaster gun mode. But, that minor complaint aside, it'll come up later, again. Anyways, you got Thunder Slinger. Thunder Slinger looks good. And the Blade Blaster Thunder Slinger combo also looks pretty good. It looks good. I haven't posed all 5 Rangers with them together, but maybe we'll do that at the end, since that's the one accessory they share. Other than that, of course, you got the best accessory he has, which is the Power Sword. And really, what more do you need than the Power Sword? If the option is Power Sword, then you go with Power Sword. Now, this isn't the only Red Ranger that has been released in the SH Figuarts line, though it is quite a fantastic one. Of course, in the series, as you know, because they have power-ups and such, we also need to represent the time that these 2 pieces came together to make the Armored Red Ranger. Alright, so here we have the packaging for the Red Armored Ranger, or the Armored Red Ranger, or Armed Tyranno Ranger. Very similar to the Green Ranger's packaging. It's the same box design. It's gold, as opposed to silver, which is nice because it's got Dragon Shield going on. Overall, it's really cool and was made for the American market pretty much, as a New York Comic Con exclusive originally. Overall, packaging is nice, and I like the silhouette on the side. Really, really cool. Alright, so here we have the Armored Red Ranger figure. Now, here's the thing. You're probably wondering, hey Soundout, why are you trying to tag on this to a prior review? You're doing 2 Figuarts in one video. Why? Well, because there's not much new going on here. I reviewed, Green Ranger yesterday, and I just reviewed Red Ranger. I feel like now is the time to quickly cover the Armored Red Ranger figure. If you can't tell already, it shares parts from both these figures. It takes the Red Ranger, gives him the Green Ranger shield and armbands, and the Dragon Dagger, and makes it a new figure. Now, you probably ask, why couldn't this be a part swap? Well, Figuart arms don't detach very well. Detachable Figuart arms, like in Kyoryu Red, aren't very good. So, I like that. It's just a new figure. Plus, it made a nice little first at New York Comic Con kind of run. Overall, the figure looks fantastic, as it just, it uses parts we've seen, but you can see the gold version of the Morpher with the Tyranno coin in it, just like that, and the Blade Blaster holder on one side, the Dragon Dagger holster on the other. Otherwise, the articulation is the same, but it doesn't have the issue of the shoulder pieces moving about because you got the shield in place. Really fantastic looking. Now, anyone who knows Mighty Morphin Power Rangers knows that this is kind of iconic and really cool in the series, and so it's nice to see replicate in SH Figuarts form. Now, accessories-wise, he comes with one form of the Blade Blaster, just the one that goes in the holster. Nothing else here. You also get the Dragon Dagger, which can fit in the holster here, and you get the Power Sword, which, if you have both red and armored red, you can have dual-wielding Power Sword. But you got Power Sword, and you got several hands, which include the opposing hands that we saw before, the Dragon Dagger hands from the Green Ranger, the Power Sword hands from the Red Ranger, and the Dragon Sword playing hands from the Green Ranger. So, overall, not much, there's nothing new. There's nothing new here. Nothing we haven't seen before. But this is more for iconicism and really cool power-up. Now, the question boils down to, is it worth getting just this and not green and red? And I honestly say yeah, because I like the red and gold color combination more so than I do the green and gold, honestly. And you're getting pretty much all the accessories that the other two came with in one figure. So instead of spending $80 on two figures, you're spending $40 on one. So if you already had green and red, it's a mild recommendation. If you are a completionist like me and think that power-up is really cool, then I'd say go for it. But overall, if you're looking for something unique and interesting and brand new, you're going to be disappointed because it is the same parts as red and green mixed together to make a new figure. And while it seems like a cheap money thing, which it probably is, it's Bandai, come on, you know Bandai guys, I think it's cool to have all three of these on display at once. It makes a nice little trio. In fact, there was specific Tamashii stages made for these three. So overall, I gotta say, it's pretty cool, and I like having it. But if you got these two, there's really no reason to get it, unless you really want to get it, in which case I'm not going to stop you. So there you go. So overall, I would highly recommend SH Figuarts Red Ranger or T-Rano Ranger, if you're particular in your Jew Rangerness. And overall, I think it's a great figure. It does have minor issues like the shoulders, but once you get him posed, he's fine. Occasionally you have to adjust them, which is kind of annoying, and the white lines don't match up perfectly, but as you can see there, it does work quite well, except when you move the figure for review. Overall, he's really great, and Armored Red Ranger is also pretty cool to have as well, but not a total necessity if you're just trying to collect the main team. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It adds to the Red Ranger Legacy collection that we've got going on here, and it's super cool. Also, if you get the Japanese one, you get American flag parts, because Akiba Ranger. Anyways, be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow as we take a look at the next Ranger in the line, which is none other than a certain White Light. So, be sure to check out HeroTalker.com for all your Power Rangers news and more, until I sit out saying goodbye.